Welcome back to Weekend Breakfast with Claudia-Liza and me, David. Well, thank you very much indeed for your company. Now, clearly, only one story in town at the moment. That is, of course, the leadership race to replace Boris Johnson. And, of course, we only now have 5 candidates. So the question is, which one of those do you want to see as our next Prime Minister? And which one do you think will leave in the next round of voting? Which is the weakest link, to quote someone I used to work with?
Oh, really? You've worked with everyone, David.
No, but she's really scary.
Really?
But that's a whole nother...
She doesn't scary.
No, she really is.
0344 499 1000. You can text talk to 87222. You can tweet at David at Dr. David Bull, at TalkTV, or at Claudia-Liza TV. Did I get that wrong again?
Yeah.
At Dr. David Bull.
Yeah, you got it right now.
I said that.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, tweet him or myself. Let us know what you think. Also, who do you think should go out right now? But yes, let's take a look at the stories in today's papers. Joining us this morning, we've got Emma Wolf, writer, broadcaster, and journalist. Good morning, Emma.
Good morning to you. Nice to have you back. Yes.
Being cool at this time of the morning.
I know you're looking sartorially splendid.
Wow, linen,
You two are
keeps it
both
cool.
looking lovely. You look lovely.
Well,
You guys look very colourful.
Well, we went very
nice.
summer.
Very Saturday.
Yes.
Do you think very Saturday?
Very summer Saturday.
Emma, before we start looking at the papers, I've got to say my daughter adores you. She adores Virginia Woolf, and in fact she says she wants to meet you, this 18-year-old. So let me just say, I've been working in TV for a good 16, 17 years. Never once says, "Oh, mummy, you're great." Like, "Oh, I want to see what you do." Not once. I go home, it's like, "Oh my gosh, I've met the great grand niece." Is it?
No, just great niece.
A great niece.
My daddy's
great
aunt.
niece of
My daddy's
Virginia Woolf. But she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing."
But credit to you for having an 18-year-old teenage daughter who is interested in literature and who wants to read someone as difficult as Virginia Woolf. She's an amazing writer, but she's not easy. And I think you've done something right in bringing up your daughter.
How she talks about women. I didn't know much. I didn't study Virginia Woolf. I did English literature, but I didn't study her. It's my daughter who introduced her books. Anyway, she adores you. Just got to put it out
We'll make it happen.
Well, when we finish the love fest, should we do some papers?
That's more than me. Yeah, let's start with the Telegraph again, talking on the leadership race and that debate last night.
So Penny Mordaunt insists she's up to the job, they say. I don't know what you guys think, but I felt that out of the 5 remaining, I think Penny's camp are going to be pretty disappointed with last night. You know, she had a lot to prove, actually, even though she's, doing well, really doing well.
Really well.
She has a lot to, yes, she is, and I don't understand. I wish someone would explain to me the Penny phenomenon.
Yeah.
Why is she so
So
popular?
I can explain, because she sounds human, she sounds enthusiastic, she's a bit of a visionary, I think, for many people. I think she also campaigned hard for LGBT rights. However, I think she's got herself in a terrible mess.
But how is that going to hit with the selectorate?
Well, I don't know, but they like her, don't they?
They like her because she's called Penny,
But I
because she's
think
sort
because
of
she was in the Navy, they
Yeah.
like that. They
She
see her as
looks
someone
like
having
them.
a real job. Exactly.
She also was a staunch Brexiteer, actually. She
She
angered
was.
many Remainers
Yeah.
in their camp. So yeah, maybe it's that. But yeah, I think
Something I don't get about the Penny thing, that's
her
all.
performance, I thought you could tell she hasn't done it much. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell she hasn't had much experience, not a lot of cabinet experience, not a lot of ministerial, proper hands-on experience. And the fact that coming on after Lord Frost saying, pretty scathing attacks about her not being on top of her brief, absent on parade, all of that stuff,
He
really...
essentially called her lazy.
He called her lazy. He said she couldn't grasp the detail. And then I thought that, after that came through last night. She was hazy.
Did it?
I thought so. So I think that Penny will be disappointed. I think people like Kemi Badenoch and Tom Tugendhat did brilliantly, and they're, of course, the candidates least likely to win. So in a way, they have the least to lose. What they're going to win, they won't get through. I know that, but I thought they were both really impressive, authentic, and they had ideas. They were talking about policy. But what will happen is they'll get peachy cabinet jobs. So, it's important, this sort of beauty parade, isn't it? Even though I think Tom Tugendhat's chances are like 1% of becoming Prime Minister.
Yes,
he says he's still in the race. Well, he's not.
Well, okay, so interestingly, one of the questions Krishnan Murthy put to them was, who do you like the other candidates here? And Kemi Badenoch, she said, I've worked with everybody. I've worked with Tom, worked with Liz. However, when it came to Penny, all she could say is, I haven't worked with Penny, but I'll have to give her the benefit of the doubt. And then Krishnan was like, oh, so you doubt her? And she's like, no, I just got to give her the benefit of the doubt.
It was pretty frosty between those two, wasn't it?
It really was.
Oh, so you're thinking if Penny for PM, she won't then give Kemi, Penny and Kemi, she won't then give Kemi the peachy cabinet job.
She won't now. Not after that. And then you're right, that it got a little bit even more frostier later, where Kemi called her out on trans
issue.
Yes. Penny said, no,
Yes.
she's a woman's a woman, a man. a man is a man.
Yeah.
Eventually, she didn't say that during the week, and then
She's got herself into a terrible mess over
So
that.
she's actually had two differing reports of what she actually said and tried to row back on the fact that she said you can self-identify, and she said she never said that.
And then she was really pressed about should women be able to exclude trans women from single-sex spaces, and she got all confused about that and then said yes. So I think she sort of started out being untruthful about her past record. Yeah, it wasn't her finest hour. I don't think it's an issue that massively bothers people unless people are saying kind of outrageous things.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The electorate themselves. I mean, what is interesting about this is that obviously it's all down to these final two that will be put to the 200,000 members.
Yeah.
I don't think those 200,000 members care about a lot of the stuff that they're talking about internally. But what they are worried about is the MPs fixing the candidates so that they get two people they don't want, and they have to then vote on that.
And it's always, you're right, David, and it's shifting. At the moment, they're talking to their MPs, they're talking to their colleagues, they're trying to jockey for votes and get other people's votes as they drop out. Then it shifts to the selectorate, the 200,000, probably mostly male, mostly over 50s, white, middle class, affluent. Then they have to think about, well, who's going to get elected who's going to get re-elected as Prime Minister within the next 24 months.
Exactly.
So lots of priorities going on, and they're talking to lots of different people.
Who are you going for?
I love Kemi. I think Kemi would be a breath of fresh air. She had policies. She is authentic. I don't feel she's not into woke. She can't be doing with all that
And
nonsense.
of course,
She's very,
as I was
very
saying
honest.
at the beginning, she is anti-woke. She also made a stance over having single-sex loos, which I thought was very important.
I think which resonates with so many
And the
people.
public will like it.
Yeah, they absolutely will love that.
So
and I'm amazed, and I hope this doesn't sound in any way racist. I love the fact that she's been accepted completely, and that there doesn't seem to be this slight resistance to the idea of having a black female prime minister. I think that's fantastic.
I was surprised about that. So I went online as well. I've been looking at what people are saying on socials, and the name that's coming up time and time again, particularly for the likes of TalkTV viewers, is Kemi. Kemi, and I did think as a black woman, it's fantastic. I did think as a black woman, I did not think that she would be so popular amongst people, but then I don't know whether Tory MPs really see that, and actually, I don't know whether they're going to choose the candidate that will win in the next general election.
Well, so I think you have to then weigh up, if you're an MP, that person that you think is right on policy and that person that you believe is an electoral asset. And of course, when it then goes to the country and we then end up in a general, which we will in 2 years' time, which one of those candidates is actually going to be able to stand there and win the election?
That's when I think we have to talk about Rishi Sunak.
Here we go, yes,
because
front page of the Times.
I think, front page of the Times. So I think he did well. I think he came into his own. I think he's had a fairly quiet week or so, but actually, because he's got that experience, because he's been Chancellor, and I've heard a few focus groups where people are saying, do you know what, he is, whether or not they remember the non-dom stuff, whether or not they remember all the stuff about his tax affairs, actually he comes across as authoritative, whereas Liz Truss, not a good performer, wooden, awkward. She very much feels like she's reading off her auto cue. She never feels natural, whereas someone like Kemi feels like she's talking about what she believes in. If you look at those launch speeches, but I thought Sunak had a good night.
Okay, Emma, you're going to stick with us. We've got more stories to look at. We're going to look a little bit closely at Liz and how we're going to handle this 40-degree heat. So yeah, stick with TalkTV with Dr. David Ball and Claudia-Liza TV. Claudia-Liza.